Hey guys, OG Albani here, and welcome to another tier list. Yes, I know it's been a very long time since we've done a tier list on the channel, but with Legends ZA coming out in just about a week from when I'm uploading this, I figured it'd be a good time to go back, look at all the megas that have been in the game before, and the ones that have been announced via trailers and things like that, and kind of predict how good I think they're going to be. If you guys do enjoy today's Draft League tier list video, be sure to drop a like on the video as well as subscribe to the channel. You're on our way to 5k subs, and I'd really appreciate it if you drop a sub, helps us reach that goal. Now, I would like to rival this again. I said Draft League tier list. I am a Draft League player. For the Draft League format, you can go check out videos on the channel if you don't know what that is. But essentially, you have a certain budget, you draft a certain amount of Pokemon, and you play different people each week, which kind of leans into more of the team building and versatility aspect of Pokemon. So this won't be how good I think they're going to be in Smogon OU. This won't be how good I think they're going to be in VGC. This is in a single battle Draft League context. So just keep that in mind as we go throughout here. I've been playing the format for a long time, so I have a pretty good grip on a lot of these guys and how they are already. We're going to be ranking them as you can see right here. S tiers are going to be ones that are banned in standard play, only allowed in like Uber Leagues. And then we just have A, B, C, and F for the stinkers. And there's a lot of them, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be a pretty common theme of today, is a lot of these Pokemon that were great before, I think they are going to be much worse now. I really do. I think they're going to be much worse. I think Power Creep has gotten pretty darn crazy. And when these come out in Champions, by the way, we're not ranking this for ZA, we're ranking this for when Champions comes out. And they're allowed in a traditional competitive context. Once we get into the game and we have like, wow, there's Pokemon like Fluttermane that were designed that can hold an item. We're going to see some of our favorite guys might have fallen off a little bit. So, yeah, that being said, I think we can just kind of jump into it. Alright, first up we have Mega Venusaur, and again, it's just kind of one of those ones where I'm like, wow, I think this Pokemon is going to fall off a bit. I actually think I want to put it in B, but it's going to be one of my lower B tier guys. I think that the typical playstyle that you see Mega Venusaur thrive and function in is like on those fat balanced teams where like Venu can come in, switch in, take a billion hits, recover up, leech, get into a fat team member. Typically the common core you'd see in the past like Celesteela Venusaur. And it was really hard to kill and really hard to take down. But I think that playstyle is just a little bit kind of outdated and hard to run. And I don't think Venusaur typically fits in on the balanced playstyles that exist now, which are like more hazard stack momentum oriented with like Allocorv and Ogerpons and things like that. So I think Venusaur is going to be a little bit harder to use and a little bit harder to function. I think it still will be solid. It's a strong Pokemon, naturally very strong, got a cool couple buffs since the last time it's been in the game, but I think it's going to be great. And another one that might surprise people too that I think is going to be very mediocre is Megazord X. It's typically been a meta-defining Pokemon. Back in Usum, like the draft core of like Koko, Kartana, Zard X, like good spinner, like a Blastoise or something like that, was incredibly overwhelming, incredibly so. But I think that Zard's stats just kind of lend it to be a little bit behind the times. Even like the defensive Pokemon that exist now, one, are stronger, but two, just don't care about +1 Zard. I mean, think of like a Tinglu. What in the world does Tinglu have to worry about a Zard X, right? And obviously that's like me cherry picking one example, but we're moving through a bunch of megas, so I don't have time to like super in-depth deep dive on the Zard. I do plan on doing like mega guides for each of the new megas. I might do it for old megas too when Champions itself comes out and things like that, but we'll see for sure. And yeah, I do think that Zard X is going to be a lot worse though. That is kind of like my hot take for this for this tier list. I think a lot of people aren't going to think so. Next up we have Zard Y, which I think is just going to be better. Now there is like the big opportunity cost, right? Like we do have to make sure that we're drafting a great spinner with it. But there are a lot better spinners in the game, right? If we just look at Gen 9 in particular, Great Tusk, Iron Treads, Terapagos, some of the best spinners we've ever gotten. Great Tusk in particular, I think that would be an incredible core. You get like a round 1 Tusk into that round 2 Zard, or round 3 or whatever it might be a little bit later on. It's going to be really difficult to deal with, to be honest with you. Like, really difficult to deal with. If we can keep hazards away, we're giving the Tusk the proto boost, to where it's like getting an attack boost. It's really difficult for a lot of teams to deal with. Zard, once you keep those rocks away, if you can find consistent switch-ins for it, does not have counterplay defensively. It is one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. Those overheats break through resistances like it is nothing. So I think Zard Y is actually going to be very strong still this gen. I think it's going to be a little bit better than it was in the past because we do have better removal options than we did back in the day, I think. If you're drafting properly around it. Now, next up we have Mega Blastoise. I think Mega Blastoise, this is one that we have to qualify. If Shell Smash is allowed, it's banned, too strong. If not, I do think that's still very solid. We're going to go ahead and put it in B tier. I think just as like a general like bulky rapid spinner, like low tier niche like option, it's not bad at all. It's very, very strong with Mega Launcher boosted moves. It can now like grab momentum and flip turn, which is pretty darn cool. It can spin very reliably. Dark Pulse to just blow up spin blockers, so it's a very good spinner if you need that on your team. When I play Omega Ruby or Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire draft or S draft, I actually very often draft Mega Blasters because that format is like dominated by spikes and rocks and hazard stack. There's no boots in old gens, obviously. And Mega Blasters is a very reliable spinner in a generation where there's not a lot of them. So while there are better spinners now, I think Mega Blasters is going to function like kind of like move its way in as a strong option, right? Your best spin blocker in the tier is something like Petron just does not spin block Mega Blastoise, right? We can just like Water Pulse it or Dark Pulse or like Dark Pulse, and it's just dead. Just absolutely gone. So really strong Pokemon. I love its natural bulk too. It's always like man, maybe I'm playing like a Zardex, right? I can always just make sure I always live like a +1 or a +2 hit from fall very comfortably, and either blow it up or like roar it out or something like that. So yeah, very solid Pokemon. Next up we have Mega Zam. These next two are going to be in bans. So, let's put Gengar in ban. Gengar's not going to be allowed in standard play. Shadow Tag's already broken on Pokemon, or really good on Pokemon that have terrible stats. Something like Gengar is not going to be allowed when it has broken stats. But Mega Zam is going to be the next S-tier / ban. I think this is one that some people are a little bit like split on. I think that there's no way this thing isn't still banned, especially if Pursuit doesn't come back on the game. That's a big tool that we would use typically to remove Alakazam. Now it becomes very, very free to just come in and click attacks and click buttons. But even without that, it got access to moves like Nasty Plot in Generation 8, which is really, really gross. We don't have to like CM up anymore. +2 Mega Zam just doesn't have switch-ins. It's fast and everything. It's stronger than everything. And it requires very specific niche counterplay and drafting that makes it very, very impressive. Like, now I need to draft like Skuntank, Drapion, Alola type mons, or I just get smoked by Alakazam, right? Or like a Bronzong, Jirachi, Metagross, or something like that. Like there's very limited counterplay, and I don't think it's quite healthy. So while there might be some counterplay to Zam, and it might be a little bit worse than it was in the past, I don't think so, man. There's no Pursuit in the game. There's just no Pursuit in the game, which is crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Zam in S tier. Might as well actually put these guys up there too. These are obviously going to be banned as well. They're the Mega Mewtwo's. Alright, Mega Kangaskhan is going to be our first C-tier Pokemon. I think Kang is a lot better than people give it credit for. At least in old gens it was. Now this is with the context of typically in singles and draft league, Seismic Toss is banned. It's a free 50% off on literally every Pokemon with Parental Bond. It's kind of broken. A little wee bit broken. It's not like Super Fang where it's 50% the first time. It's just 50% every time. So you 2-hit KO the entire game. It's a little broken, unless it's a ghost type. So with that in mind, there is always like the crux of Kang where it's like it's helmet food, right? It comes in, it takes helmet, and that's not good. There are other Kang sets that I think are good, like Wish Tech sets are really, really annoying and bulky. And if we have means of like getting rid of those helmets with like strong knockoff users and things of the sort, I don't think it's a terrible Pokemon, but I think that like the opportunity cost of using Kang and like how you have to build and play with it is just not typically worth when we have so many good megas, right? Like there's so many good megas, but we'll see. Next up is Pinsir. Is Pinsir gonna go in D? No, I'm gonna keep F tier for the stinkers, like the terrible Pokemon. I don't think Pinsir has the same like upside as something like Yard does in keeping away rocks to that 4x weakness. The aerially boosted attacks are strong, but assuming return isn't back in the game, which I don't think it's going to be, it loses out on its best stab option for that flying stab. It can position SDs and be strong, and it's definitely like a usable Pokemon. That's something to keep in mind with all of these megas. Literally all of them are usable, but it's an opportunity cost thing, right? If I draft Mega Pinsir, I can't draft, Mega Blastoise or whatever Mega we talk about later. Plus, can't hold an item, things like that. Like, I only get one of these guys. There are better options. And while Pinsir is a usable Pokemon and is generally very strong, I don't think it's worth using your Mega slot on it over. So, yeah, I'm going to put it down in C tier. Next up, we have Mega Gyarados. I think Gyarados is going to go in A, though. This Pokemon, I don't think it gets any worse with, like, the changing of the tides and how the meta kind of shakes up and, goes down. It's still incredibly bulky. It's still incredibly strong. I think Dark is such a strong offensive typing. Water Dark is just a really good typing in general. Again, a Pokemon that has Umbreon bulk with the attack set that it has and the move pool that it has and things of the sort. Intimidate pre-Mega, then we Mega, and we get Mold Breaker, which is still very useful in many situations, whether it be Sturdy, Disguise, whatever it may be. Fluffy, even. Things like, right? I think Mega Gyarados is really, really strong. Incredibly, incredibly strong. So, yeah, I'm going to put it up in A tier. Next, it might be a hot take. It's one that I really enjoy. I love Mega Aerodactyl. It might be top of B. We might end up moving it down, but I think the speed that you have in 150 is so unbelievably valuable. Like, so unbelievably valuable. Very strong with Tough Claws, and I got access to, like, Reliable Flying Stab, or, like, better Reliable Flying Stab, and it's not even reliable. It's better than Aerial Ace and Wing Attack in Dual Wing Beat, which I think is pretty darn awesome. It can even Dragon Dance up now, which is pretty cool. Good rocker, fast taunt, really, really strong Pokemon. That Rock Flying combination is actually really annoying when you have, you know, coverage boosts like Earthquake, or, like, Tough Claws boosted Fire Fang, and things like that, depending on what the matchup is. And again, you can Dragon Dance, you can Hone Claws if you don't want to miss your Stone Edges and things like that. You do a Wing Beat, and you don't need the speed, but I think the speed option is nice. Now, there's literally no Scarfer or any Pokemon ever that's going to outpace you. And yeah, just a really strong Pokemon. Again, also, the speed that it has allows it to go very, very fat and bulky in a ton of matchups. So, yeah, we're going to put Arrow, I think, bottom of A right now. It might move down to top of B, who knows. Alrighty, next, we unfortunately have our first F-tier Mega. Unfortunately, Fabio has to go down here. Again, like, on its own, not a terrible Pokemon. I think there's ways of, like, making Ampharos better that Game Freak just hasn't done. Maybe they will do it, you know, going forward. But we're going to go ahead and put Ampharos down in F-tier. It is probably, I think, objectively the worst Mega. Barring maybe something like Audino, but Audino at least has, like, the argument of, like, being regen pre-Mega and then, like, not having it afterwards. But, I don't know, I still think that makes Audino terrible because, like, it's better to just never Mega it. Besides, like, the last turn you're never going to switch out kind of thing. But it's strong, but no Draco is really bad. I mean, it's literally Walmart Raging Bolt, and Raging Bolt was made a couple gens. Like, there's no reason to ever use this thing. Like, even if Terra doesn't exist in the future, Raging Bolt will just be a league's better Pokemon, right? And it doesn't take your Mega slot. So, yeah, this guy's going all the way down here. Next up is one of my favorites, though. We're going from F to S, or F to A, in Mega Scizor. I love Mega Scizor. I think this Pokemon is absolutely incredible. Those Technician Bullet Punches hit so hard. It's such a great facilitator momentum grab with U-turn, as well as knockoff, things like that. We can obviously SD up and win, or we can be really fat and defensive and Roost and Defog and U-turn around forever and ever. It got cool moves like Close Combat, too, so it's not like superpower for fighting coverage anymore, which is also really, really nice. And I also am a big fan of just having that emergency button Pokemon. Having something with really, really strong priority is a form of that emergency button kind of idea. And it's a great way of making sure you don't lose a lot of games. And Mega Scizor always kind of makes it to where, in most games, and most Pokemon can't just outright sweep you while it's around, which I think is really nice. Also, presumably, no Hidden Power Fire is always nice, because now there's just a lot of Pokemon that are simply walled by Mega Scizor. Like, just simply walled by it. Now, it will be maybe a little bit worse if there is no Roost on Scizor, like if it doesn't get that back in Champions for whatever reason, which honestly, I say for whatever reason, but might just be the case. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't, and it just runs SD every game instead, right? And we can always, like, Aloe Scizor and Wish Flip turn into it, right? So, yeah, really strong Pokemon. Next up is going to be Mega Heracross. This might be a hot take. I think it is definitely better than it was before. Mega Heracross, if you don't know, in Generation 9, or I guess regular Heracross, got access to Trailblaze, which Mega Heracross is a ridiculously strong Pokemon. I think it's like base 185 attack. It's like the strongest Mega physically, maybe behind Mega Mewtwo X. I'm not sure if they have the same stat or not. But it's ridiculously strong, but it's not the bulkiest in the world, and it's pretty darn slow, especially by nowadays standards. But now we can boost our speed, which I think makes this thing much, much more viable. We have scaling moves like Bullet Seed and Rock Blast. Obviously, we throw off ridiculously strong close combats. We have Pin Missile as well for the Bug Stab option, which is really cool. We can SD up. Like, SD Trailblaze, what do you do if you don't have a Scarf or faster, right? It seems very, very impressive. Obviously, it's very hard to position things like that, but, like, with the rise of, like, screens offense and things of the sort, I don't think that Mega Heracross is going to be bad at all. I think it's actually going to be a really strong Mega on certain very specific, particular types of team structures. So, yeah. Next up is Mega Hound. Oop, that's Mega Tyranitar. We'll get you next. Next up is Mega Houndoom, which is going to go all the way down here in F tier. I do think it is better than Mega Ampharos, but again, weak to rocks. Its ability is strong, but also low-key debilitating. Plus, why am I drafting Mega Houndoom Sun when I can just draft one of the Billion Paradox Mons, when I can just draft Charizard Y, which sets the Sun, right, up in A tier? It's an opportunity costing. Houndoom on its own is a strong Pokemon with a good speed stat and great special attack stat, but it's weak to rocks and can't hold boots, and it's not another Mega Pokemon, right? Or it's a Sun Pokemon that's not another Sun Pokemon. So, while it might be good on its own, like, theoretically, and could you do well with a Mega Houndoom in your league? Yeah. I still don't think it's ever worth drafting it. Next up, we have Mega T-Tar. I think Mega T-Tar is definitely going to see a big rise in usage. I think the big thing for it was getting access to knockoff. This Pokemon seems really, really silly with that. Whether it be Dragon Dance sets or Rock Polish sets, or whether it just be Rocks 3 attack sets with knockoff removing items, seems very, very debilitating and annoying, right? Those like bulky fighting types or bulky dark resist that want to switch in and like, you know, make you take helmet or whatever it might be, or, you know, take a hit pretty comfortably like crunch. Now, in conjunction with hazards, sand, and knocking off whatever the recovery item is or whatever it is, you're going to chip down your own checks really, really easily, even if you are a defensive variant, right? Then the next time they switch into a knockoff or a stone edge or whatever it may be, man, they are low on health, especially with hazards up, and Mega Teacher also sets up the hazards, right? So I think that's actually a really, really strong Pokemon. Now, next is Mega Blaziken, as we get into like the Generation 3 Megas. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about Mega Blaziken. Not in the sense of like, is it good or not? I wonder if it's going to be allowable this gen. I'm going to lean on the side of caution and say no. But I've always leaned on the side of caution, and there was a point in Generation 9 where I thought Blaziken was broken. Now that guy is getting undrafted. That's regular Blaziken, obviously. Mega Blaziken is bulkier. It is stronger without an item. Obviously, like Life Orb Blaziken is going to be stronger than Mega Blaziken. It's kind of like Latios. But I think it finds much more opportunity to set up, and I think the speed tier is actually a big thing in regards to Scarfers and booster guys and things like that. So, I think that Mega Blaziken will still be a little too strong, personally, but I think we're definitely going to see it get tested, is I guess like the way I kind of look at it and think about it and stuff like that. So, yeah. Next up is Mega Guard. Guard is also going to go down in C tier, I think. I just don't think it's very strong, unfortunately. I think it's a little too slow now. The Pixelate nerf definitely hurts it to where the Hyper Voices are still very strong, don't get me wrong. Like Hyper Voice plus Psychic and Focus Blast and all things are very strong, but it's so frail physically, and it's not fast enough to be that frail physically. I mean, look at a Pokemon like Flutter. Obviously, Flutterman is broken and banned, right? But like a Pokemon like Flutterman can thrive with like that low physical defense stat because it's ridiculously fast. Guard has like almost like a similar stat spread. It's a little stronger, but it's much slower, right? Like it's much slower, and I think that's going to be a big thing that makes it just kind of a lot worse. Next up, Mega Mawile. Mega Mawile is going to go in A tier. This guy's the GOAT. It's so unbelievably strong. I'm personally a little bit more of a Mega Scizor guy than a Mawile guy. I think Mawile might be objectively better. I like using Scizor more. I think it's a lot easier to pilot. I do think that when newer players try to use Mega Mawile draft, they can sometimes struggle. But it is a guaranteed 1-for-1 mon, 1-for-2, and it can, you know, set up a win with SD. It's ridiculously strong. Intim pre-Mega, best typing in the game defensively, and it just doesn't have a switch in with that huge power. So, yeah, strong mon overall. Mega Aggron is another Pokemon I think is going to go down to C tier. I'm going to go ahead and put it in high C. Now, it does get like a pretty big buff in getting Iron Defense plus Body Press, but I don't think that's enough to save its slow, passive playstyle with no recovery in such a fast-paced metagame, like, you know, current Draft League metagames have been. Again, in the past, we could draft these fat balance cores. I mean, like, I used to draft, like, Florges Mega Aggron all the time. Doing kids be dead with the Florges in Generation 9, right? And I think the game's only going to continue to speed up. So as the game continues to speed up, Mega Aggron is going to feel slower and slower and slower. That's why I'm going to put it in C tier. Still a great physical wall. And again, I think it's definitely like draftable on certain teams and playstyles, but I wouldn't personally draft it. Except we have Mega Medicham. Give me another Pokemon I put in A. I'm going to put it at top A. I love me some Mega Medicham. Not only is it the most fun Pokemon ever, like just objectively the most fun Pokemon ever. Like you just come in, you click high jump kick and whatever it may be. One, now we click close combat, which is obviously weaker than high jump kick, but it doesn't miss and do 50% of your health or risk like random protects and things like that. But it also got the Heracross treatment in the sense it got Trailblaze. Pokemon like Medicham and Heracross are low-key balanced in a way that they're ridiculously strong, but they cannot boost their speed in any way. Now Medicham can, on its own, boost its speed while it's doing damage. And I think that actually sets this thing pretty far over the top and makes it ridiculously strong. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up in A tier personally. Next up is Mega Manectric, and I think this guy is poop from a butt, and I'm going to put him in F tier. No hidden power Manectric. I'm not a big Manectric fan when it has hidden power. I think it is definitely much better than this when it does, but I'm not a big fan when it has hidden power. So when it does not have hidden power, I think this guy is really bad. Like, I really don't think it's very good. Intim is okay, but stats just aren't there. No item. Well, by pretty much every ground ever, like, your way of pushing through him is, like, overheating, like, 8 times. But that means I'm clicking overheat on a prediction every time, which is pretty frustrating. Yeah, I'm not big on it. To the point where I actually think that Mega Banette is a Pokemon I would draft over it. Now, I do think Mega Banette is still terrible. Again, big bust this gen. A lot of these guys got big busts. Getting access to Poltergeist, which is really strong. Getting access to, I think, Drain Punch. I know bare minimum Skitter Smack, which is really nice as well. Then obviously, like, Shadow Sneak, things like that. It got a lot stronger offensively, which is big because it's a Pokemon with ridiculous attack stat. They just didn't use it. It also has like the Destiny Bond, like kind of prankster, or like the prankster utility with moves like Destiny Bond, you know, things like that, which can be really annoying. Prankster Will-O-Wisp and T-Wave and all that stuff. So there is like utility there. Its stats are just so bad and so poorly distributed. Like if Game Freak was just a little bit better about that, it'd be much stronger. But I think the tools that it got does make it at least draftable. This would be the Merce Mega if it was like Mega Banette's old moveset. It would be worse than Ampharos, like 100%. So, yeah. Next up, we have Mega Absol, who is also going to go down in F tier. It is a little bit better than Mega Banette here. It's definitely a little bit better. But I am definitely not big on it. The Absol is a Pokemon that looks broken on paper. It always does. A great speed stat, mixed attacker, knockoff, sucker punch, all this crazy coverage. But then you get into actual gameplay application, you're like, wow, I can't kill anything and everything kills me. I'm telling you, just use it. Draft it. If you disagree with me, I want you to go out in your first ZA league, and I want you to draft Mega Absol. Report back to me. Come back to this video and tell me how you do. Because I'm going to tell you, it's probably not great. And if it was, then the rest of your team is probably butt. Alright, next up is Latias and Latios. I don't know which one is which. So I'm going to preface this. I'm going to rank Latias first and Latios. I think Latias is broken. I'm going to put it in S tier. It is way too bulky. The way its stats are distributed, way too bulky. It takes away one of its main weaknesses and knockoff. And what I mean by that is it's ridiculously fat and it doesn't hold an item. So it's weak or it doesn't have a knockoffable item. So knockoff's power is weaker, which means it's so hard to kill, right? With Calm Mind and setup, and it's just ridiculous. Really, really insane mon. Anytime it's been tested, it's been proven. Now, I will say, Mega Latios, I think there is a real chance that this is a super testable Pokemon. It could be broken, but we've seen many instances in like Gen 7 where leagues would test it and try it, and sometimes people say, wow, it's way too broken, sometimes not, wow. It's been like 7 years since Usum. I think it's time to give this thing a go again. It is just weaker than Latios if Latios is holding a boosting item, but beyond that, Latios itself isn't very good anymore. It's not bad, but it's like a luxury offense pick you get in round 5 or 6 because it fits well with your offensive core, opposed to in the past where you could justifiably get a round 1 or 2 Latios and thrive with it, right? So I am going to go ahead and put this guy in A tier just because I think that like the fall off of Latios is going to kind of subsequently affect this. Now, I think it will be a little bit better because it is stronger off rip. But I don't think that this is going to be like a bannable Pokemon at all. It could even be worse than this. I'm going to put it in high A because of the fact that it was banned before pretty consistently. While it might not be now, I'm going to put it up here in case it's really good. I don't know. That's where I'm going to put it. Mega Lucario, let's put it in banned. Let's just go through all the banned guys real quick, actually. I think that's what we'll do to kind of get through this a little bit quicker and more efficiently and make the list look less daunting for myself. Mega Salamence, my GOAT, my mascot, banned. My second favorite Pokemon in Metagross, also banned. I picked the 2 coolest guys, what can you say? Kyogre and the Primal guys banned. Mega Ray, banned. And those are the only blatant ones. Okay, those are the only blatant ones. So we'll continue from here. Alright, next up, Twin Blades Mega Garchomp. Now, this is a Pokemon that your YouTube shorts will tell you to put down here or down here. But I'm going to tell you right now, this guy's going up here. I think it's going right here. Why does it go up here? Again, it's that Mega Medicham and Mega Heracross thing where now Garchomp was a Pokemon in the past where they reduce its speed very deliberately, right? To make it not broken. I think they did it to kind of the detriment of Garchomp to make it worse than regular Garchomp, right? Especially in Old Gen. It's just an objective fact. But now we have a Mega Garchomp that can boost speed with a damaging stab move. Obviously, it's not loaded dice, so Scale Shot is not a very reliable move. But the main thing is that it boosts your speed. And you are so strong, and you are so bulky, and now you are faster than most things, right? And 92 isn't slow at +1, right? It's not like fast, but it's not slow at +1, making it ridiculously strong. This thing is still good in Old Gens, by the way, too. People like pretend like Usum, like Mega Garchomp, as like a Draftmon is like bad Pokemon. It's not at all. It's very good. You don't have to Mega immediately, too. If you need that 102 speed tier, you can hold on to the Mega, and then when you need the extra bulk or the extra power, you can pop that Mega. You're a great sweeper. With SD Scale Shot now, you can obviously be a great mixed attacker, great special attacker, great rocker. Now you can also spike too, like a mon that forces the amount of switches that Garchomp does. You can have spike with it, which is really strong. I think this Pokemon has the potential to be one of the best Megas of the generation. This could be me like overhyping it, overglazing it, whatever you want to say, but I do think it's gonna be very strong. I do think I need to be a little bit more objective with this here. Yeah. The reason I say that is because I'm going to go back down to F tier here. We're going to put Mega Abomasnow down here. probably just below Ampharos, or in front of Ampharos. In theory, like, Coolmon, strong. I do think, like, the buff to Snow, making it, like, better physically defensive-wise is cool for a bulky mega like this, but its typing is so bad for something so slow. It literally comes down to that. Like, Grass Ice is just bad. You're weak to rocks, and you can't hold boots like regular Abomasnow. You can technically Veil, but you can't hold an Icy Rock, or you can't hold a Light Clay to make the Veil go longer, so really, like, you're veiling for yourself. You're slow, and you have a lot of weaknesses for a bulky Pokemon. There's a lot of things that hit you very hard, so... yeah, I just can't justify putting Abomasnow higher. Next up is a hot one of discussion. Mega Beedrill is going to go right down here in C tier. I do think it is better than Mega Gardevoir. I'd rather draft Mega Beedrill than Mega Gardevoir, I think, in the Big 25 or the Big 26 when Champions comes out, right? I think that Beedrill just has too many glaring flaws that are very, very easily exploitable. And it is a Pokemon that you have to very specifically draft and play around that is just not worth the opportunity cost. Again, it literally comes down to two things. It's literally two things. Mega Beedrill being weak to rocks, Mega Beedrill being weak to hitting things with contact moves when its whole thing is you turning around forever, right? Rocky Helmet, secondary abilities like Rough Skin or Static or Flame Body or things like that, those are very real and prevalent abilities. And the Rocky Helmet is one of the best items in the game already, right? You're not, like, putting yourself at a detriment for throwing a Rocky Helmet on your physically defensive guy, right? It is one of the best defensive items in the game. I think it's like a top 3 item in the game in general. Personally, I'm a big Rocky Helmet guy. This Pokemon is literally dead on arrival if Rocks and Helmet exists. It's just dead on arrival. It's very weak to priority, things like that. It's very strong. The adaptability U-turns are very strong in a single battle context. But man, it is very exploitable, it is very weak to a lot of things, and it's very difficult to use for a Pokemon that is not as good. Right? There are just better Mega Pokemon that don't require the same level of support as something like Beedrill will. So it's just not a very good one. I do think it's better than things like Pinsir, which require crazy support. I think it's just a stronger Pokemon than Guard. I might be, like, super dunking on Guard for no reason. Maybe that's what I'll get yelled at in the comments about. I'm kind of trying to think of, like, what you guys are going to be mad about my takes-wise. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and put it down in C tier. Next up, we have Mega Pidgeot. We're getting into, like, the ORAS Megas. There actually aren't that many of them. We're actually almost to the ZA Megas. Mega Pidgeot, I'm going to go ahead and put it, I think, top of C tier. I think this is another Pokemon that's going to fall off. Mega Pidge was awesome in old gens. But I think the main thing is that things, again, kind of like that Zardex theorem, things are just bulkier now, man. Like, those non-boosted Hurricanes, like, with no boosting item or no way of boosting our special attack and things like that, just aren't going to hit the same like they used to, man. They're just not going to. I think Pidge will still be good. I think it's a fun speed option for certain teams and things like that. And maybe Pidge Sand will see its return, right? But as of right now, I'm not super big on it. Next is Bro. Mega Bro. If it gets Teleport back, I think it is much better than this. But otherwise, I think I am going to put it in bottom of C. It's another Pokemon that's, like, a lot better when it doesn't Mega. Because it keeps regen. Now, if it keeps Port and it can, like, slow pivot out, like, pre-Mega and kind of, like, farm regen, then you need to become that physically defensive uncrittable wall. It's pretty good. It can be a really annoying setup threat and things like that. But again, I think it's just a Pokemon that plays with a very slow play style for how quick the game is now. So, I'm not going to put it too high there. Next up is Mega Steelix, which is also going to go pretty low. I actually really like Mega Steelix. I think it's fun. But I have Mega Aggron in C tier, and I think Steelix is just a worse version of Aggron. You know, he's just a worse version of Aggron. Worse ability. I'm not sure if worse stats objectively, but, like, the main thing is, like, being pure steel with filter is so good. And Steelix is just kind of a worse version of, like, a bulky steel type Mega. Next up is Mega Sceptile, which I'm going to put in low C on speed tier alone. I think that the speed tier is really, really strong. It's very anti-meta in the sense of, like, it hits a lot of, like, the really fast Pokemon in the metagame, like, as of, like, Torn. Really, really hard as well, which is pretty cool. But it is definitely not, like, a World Ender Mega, and I think it not having Draco is really tough. Give it Draco, and I'll maybe consider, like, actually drafting it and using it. Megapert, I think Megapert always has to go in, like, B tier. It is a Pokemon that is, like, F tier with no Rain, but with Rain, it becomes, like, low-key A tier. And I think it has a chance of, like, bringing Rain back into viability. I think Rain hasn't been viable since Usum because there hasn't been Mega Swampert. It's very, very strong and oppressive under the Rain, and now it has a pivoting option in Flip Turn, which I think is really strong with your special Rain Breakers. Like, you force in the Tangrowth, and you get in, you turn out into, like, or you Flip Turn out into, like, XYZ special Swim on. It's going to be really tough for teams to deal with. So, yeah, I like Pert. I think it's gonna maybe make Rain viable again. Mega Sableye is also gonna go down here in like C tier, I think. There's like a line between like Guard and like all these guys, like a very clearly defined like this guy kind of sucks. But what do you call it? I think that Mega Sableye is another Pokemon like Pert, where if it's on a specific playstyle, Stall specifically, it shoots up, and if it's not, it's like an F tier Mega. We have seen a little bit of a rise of people in like some trying to use like Mega Sableye kind of like on like more balanced, bulky offense teams opposed to hard stall, which was the only playstyle I was seen on before. I think to varying success. It was like paired with Pokemons like Volcarona and maybe like Kyurem Black, Pokemon that hate rocks. As like very big anti-stealth rock with magic bounce and things like that. But typically you see it on stall. It's a requirement to have on stall damn near, but I also think that like hard stall in the way that it used to exist back in like Gen 8 and prior is kind of a gone thing just with all like the nerfs they've had to fat playstyles. So I think that it that in turn makes Sableye a little bit worse. Like it only having 8 recoveries is kind of ass. So and stat creep, like Pokemon are just stronger now. So yeah. Next up, we have Mega Sharpedo, who's going to go in the top of C tier. This is the Pokemon I actually want to use the most. I think it is so fun. It is so strong. And it's had some great success. But I think putting it above C tier is a bit disingenuous. I just really like it. But it's very frail. At +1, if you get like the Speed Boost Pre-Mega, there's still a lot of Pokemon that can outspeed you with Scarf and kind of blow you up. Prio, things like that. But man, Mega Shark is so cool and so much fun. So I'm going to put it up there. Next up is Mega Camel, who I'm actually going to put down here in C tier, I think above Mega Steelix. I think that, like, again, objectively not a good Mega, but it does have, like, some cool qualities. Its typing is really strong defensively for checking things like the offensive electrics of Draft Lake. Like, it was always, like, the biggest Jail Ball, Coco, and Zera guy ever, unless they decided to run Hidden Power Water, which obviously isn't even an option now, which is cool. But it's also ridiculously strong if you can, like, do some cool Trick Room Port shit with it. Like, if the Slow Twins get Teleport back, like, drafting, like, Slowbro, Slowking, and, like, Trick Room and teleporting out, this Pokemon has no switches. Like, the Sheer Force, Fire, and Ground, plus, like, Rock, is so strong. It's so unbelievably strong. So I think this guy's really cool. I've used it before, and I've actually had good success with it. Again, there's big opportunity cost. I wasn't using another Mega, which was tough. But it was really fun, and it was really strong. So I think putting it there is fair. Another Pokemon I think is going to be kind of butt now is going to be Mega Altaria. I'm going to go ahead and put it down here in C tier. I think the biggest thing, again, is, like, these, like, Jack of all trades, Master of none Mons just aren't as good now. Mega Alt was, like, always, like, the Jack of all trades guy, where it could be, like, a TP sweeper, it could be a physically defensive, especially defensive, special attack, or special sweeper with agility, Cotton Guard, Dragon Dance, all these things. But its stats are just worse now, and it lost return, which means we have to Body Slam or Facade, which isn't, like, the worst. Sometimes you'd run Facade anyways, but it's not return, so we lose the power option. When we already don't have high stats, losing our strongest option for reliable stab is a little tough. You also have Double Edge if you really want to do damage, but then you're also killing yourself, which isn't great. Another Pokemon I love, dude, I love some of these terrible Megas. It's gonna be Glalie. I objectively have to put Glalie down here in F tier, I think. But I do love him. I think he's going to be much worse this gen. And also Lost Return, which is tough. So again, Body Slam and Boom. But as like a low tier fun spiker for like 5 points. It's actually really cool. But again, that's your Mega Pokemon. So maybe Leagues, and this is something I've been toying with. Let me know if you guys watch this far in the video and you see this far. That's a good litmus to see who's watching the videos. But I wonder if Leagues will kind of pivot to like a Mega Captain kind of rule, opposed to having 1 Mega per team. Kind of like how we do Terra Captains. Like, maybe you have like 30 points for Megas, and you can get 2 Megas max, so I can get like Mega Medicham and Mega Glalie. I might not use Mega Glalie literally ever, but maybe it makes these guys a little bit better because you have that option off of the bench. And keep in mind, they would like only be on the Mega and then Intense, things like that, right? I think there could be some cool strategy in that. Maybe you draft like Mega Arrow, Mega Glalie, because there's maybe a matchup where you want to sit Mega Arrow, or I don't know, probably not, but you know, cool options. Mega Lop. Mega Lop's gonna go up here in A tier. I think probably about right here. I think I put it higher if it kept return again. These are like the return Megas. If it kept return, it'd probably get the top of A. So you'd think that'd be a big nerf, and it is, but it did get some buffs. One was access to U-turn, letting its function as like a crazy pivot now, which it could never do before. Giving it access to triple axle is a really strong option, and giving it access to close combat is a more reliable option than high jump kick. Plus, buffing Scrappy to where it's not affected by Intimidate. Not being able to Intimidate pivot this guy is really annoying. And speaking of, Gallade got a similar buff. It's not getting banned. But if it got Sharpness, it's getting banned. If they give it Sharpness because they're like, hey, it's on brand, we gave it to Gallade, Goodbye. Or I guess not Chef's Kiss. It'll be bye-bye. We'll wave bye to Mega Glade. But otherwise, it's still ridiculously strong. It's very deceptively fat, has a great speed tier on 110, and just wins games. It just wins games. It's that simple. It literally just wins games. Next up is Mega Audino. Oh, that's Mega Dancy. Next up is Mega Audino. It's going to go down here in F tier. Which one would I have? I would low-key rather use Mega Ampharos. I think Stat Creep has caught it to regular Audino enough to where like I wouldn't want to use regular Audino because everything's going to 2-hit KO it. And Mega Audino is just like worse than regular Audino. It's better stats, but like nothing ability. It's very weak. Like it's just not a very good Pokemon. And then Mega Dancy is going to go up here in S tier. I'm going to keep it below Lottie. I do actually low-key think that Lottie is going to be worse. I'm going to actually we're going to make a tough call. We're going to say that Lottie is just worse than a lot of these Megas this gen. We're going to put Mega Dancy in the top A tier. It got some cool tools like Encore and cool things of the sort. If it gives like Mystical Fire from Gen 8, that'd be awesome. But regardless, one of the strongest Megas ever. It's so strong. It also got spikes too, which is really cool. Again, a Pokemon that forces very specific counterplay. Getting up 3 layers of spikes with the game because you have Mega Dancy that's so strong. Really cool. So yeah, I'm a big Dia guy. I think Dia is really strong. One of my favorite Megas to use ever. And yeah, that's going to be the current Megas that have existed before ZA. Now we have the Megas that have been officially revealed via ZA. Now, keep in mind, I've kept up with the leaks. Please don't talk about the leaks down in the comments below. I know there will be much more than this. And some of these Megas that they have not like announced yet have the potential to just blow most of these Megas that we have in the past out of the water because they're newly designed mons and they might be, designed with a little bit more stat creep and power creep in mind. So just keep that in mind. I will say, I don't think some of these Megas are going to be as good as a lot of people think they are. Not the case with the first one, though. I do think that Mega Dragonite is probably going to be broken. These are all predictions, keep in mind. Keep in mind, I've also done, prediction videos on all of these minus the Mega Raichus. So, this is all predictions based on what I think they are going to be. I know nothing about their stats. I know nothing about their move pool. If you're watching this after ZA comes out, I know nothing about them yet. Nothing. We will have guides on them when they come out with their movesets and their stats and things like that. Right now, I know nothing about them. But I don't see a way you look at Dragonite and you give it 100 more stats and it doesn't become as good as this guy. Right? I really don't. You can let it keep multi-scale even, and it's fine. Give it a useless ability. It just Dragon Dances pre-Mega, then Megas, and just smokes everybody. Or it becomes a special attacker with Serene Grace or whatever it may be and just smokes everybody. Yeah, I don't see a universe where you give Dragonite 100 stats and it doesn't become broken. Because it's already very good. It's already very good. Next up is Mega Victreebel. I think if they give it the corrosion ability or the buffed corrosion that people are saying or Sludge Bomb or Poison Moves or Super Effective Steel types, I think it becomes much better. But I don't think, if it doesn't, I think it's actually going to be an F tier Mega. I think it needs a really good ability to ever differentiate itself from Mega Venusaur, and even then I think Mega Venusaur will always just be a better option. Mega Hawlucha, I think has the potential to be a B tier Mega, depending on how they distribute the stats, what ability they give it, things like that. If they just make it really fast and really strong, it's going to be good. Fighting Flying is a really strong stab combination. Hawlucha has an incredible move pool. This thing could be very good. If they give it things like Stamina or Reckless or even if they give it Fluffy because he gets a little fat. I don't know. Fur coat, right? Whatever they end up giving Hawlucha, as long as they distribute the stats well and just give it more speed, more attack, and let it play into its strengths, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. The next one is Mega Malamar, and I don't think it's going to be good. I think the exact opposite. My friend Malamar, maybe I'll get mind controlled tonight for saying this, but I don't think Mega Malamar is going to be good because its typing is terrible. It's that, right? Its base stats aren't good enough to where even giving it 100 stats, I don't think it's going to set it over the top. Depending on what ability they give it, I'm not sure. Contrary is probably just better than any ability they can give it, unless they give it special huge power, which is my shot in the dark prediction. If that's the case, it might jump up to here or here, depending on how fast it is. But as of right now, I'm going to say F tier because it's just pretty terrible stats. Except as Mega Chestnut. And if this guy gets Iron Bars or if it gets Fluffy, if it gets Stamina, anything like that, I actually think this will be a pretty strong Mega. As a niche defensive option. The typing is a little bit lackluster, but it has a great move pool. It's very strong offensively too. Grass Fighting isn't a bad stab combo at all. So I think this would actually be a low-key a better Mega Aggron as a physical wall. So we're going to put it up there. I think that Mega Delphox has the potential of being incredibly strong. The stat typing is crazy. If it gets Levitate like most people think it's going to get, it's going to be even crazier, really strong. I'm hoping it gets Magic Guard. I think that would be insane. I think that would low-key push it up to here, not have to worry about rocks. But regardless, that typing plus giving it more speed and special attack, Delphox is always like really close to being super good. I think it's just a little bit far behind in the stats category right now. Giving it more stats and giving it an immunity to ground, or really any useful ability at all, I think it's going to be one of the stronger megas, for sure. Next up is Gren. Gren is in a similar boat to D-Knight. I don't see how you give Greninja 100 more stats and make it balance. I really don't see it. I don't. I don't know. I could be wrong. It could be capping, but I don't see how it happens. Next up, we have Mega Raichu X and Y. And I didn't make a video on these guys, mostly because I think they're going to be pretty terrible. I really do. I think Mega Raichu X is going to be really bad because it looks like it's going to be a physical attacker. If you look at Raichu's current move pool, it does not have the move pool to succeed there. These are also both confirmed to be pure electric, and I don't think that they're going to be very good in that regard. Then Mega Raichu Y, I think it'll be a little bit better. If it's a special attacker, if it gets faster, stronger, it has coverage options like Grass Knot and Surf, so it can be strong, right? If you click the right button every time, but I don't think it's going to be like ridiculously strong. So we're gonna put it in like mid C2. And that's kind of like a nice ranking and like a very optimistic ranking, I guess is the way I say it. But yeah, that's gonna be kind of my evaluation of the megas before ZA and how they'll look in Champions, and then my guess on how good I think the megas that are coming out will be. We'll see how correct I am when we get stats and things like that. We'll see how this shakes up when we see other megas. There might be like a mega that is just a better version of Mega Blastoise. So Mega Blastoise drops down for the same reason that some of these other Pokemon did, because there's just better versions of them, right? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed. Sub if you're new. We're on our way to 5K. We have plenty of content coming out for ZA. I'll be streaming the game live next week. Like I said, I'll be doing guide videos on all the new megas for when they drop in Champions for like competitive aspects and things like that. I got a ton coming, so be sure to drop a like, sub. I'll see you guys next time. Later.